More than 1,100 cultural infrastructure facilities and 500 monuments and memorials have been destroyed or damaged in Ukraine by the Russian army during more than 9 months of a full-scale invasion. The creative industry has lost more than $15 billion since February the 24th. The top military political leadership of the Federation insists that Ukraine and Russia are one nation, but it deliberately tries to destroy everything connected with Ukraine. This was stated by the Minister of Culture Oleksandr Tkachenko in an article on the Guardian website. Therefore, according to Tkachenko, the heritage of Russian culture should be banned on all platforms of civilized Western countries.
Boycotting Russian culture is an important step. We are not talking about cancelling Tchaikovsky, but rather about pausing performances of his works until Russia ceases its bloody invasion. Ukrainian cultural venues have already done this with him and other Russian composers. We are calling on our allies to do the same. And Ukrainian culture has so much to offer. Our composers have produced masterpieces, and our writers should be no less esteemed than their Russian counterparts. Ukrainian literature has deep roots and is still actively developing. Oleksandr Tkachenko, Minister of Culture and Information Policy of Ukraine, on the Guardian website.
Despite the full-scale war unleashed by the Kremlin, Ukraine continues to develop its own culture and brand of the country. Over the past 9 months, more than 650 actions and projects and about 100 concerts in support of Ukraine have taken place in different countries of the world. Now the attention of the whole world is focused on Ukraine, unfortunately because of the war. But I am sure that we should not miss this chance, and we have what we've already received over these months. This is an interest, and this interest can only be increased, strengthened, and how the British say, we can seize the moment. People in the world are beginning to distinguish Ukrainian culture from Russian, with which we were previously confused a lot. It is nice, and I'm sure that we should continue our work in this direction. At the same time, more than 100 international organizations refuse to cooperate with representatives of the Russian cultural sector, while Ukrainian artists, directors, designers and actors are becoming more and more in demand in the European and other markets.
The attitude of customers towards Ukrainian contractors has changed. At the beginning of the war, we heard theses that they would pause the contracts with our people because they were afraid that our employees could fall under rocket fire while going to work in the morning. For our part, we convinced them that if people are left without work and money, then in principle it doesn't matter whether there is a rocket attack or not, because people need to feed themselves and their families. The doors are open for us now, so my recipe is to get up and start actively moving forward, not to claim how bad everything is now because of the war, but to perceive this as a time of opportunity to fix our share in the world.
European countries are ready to help Ukrainian culture not only by providing venues of their state, but also financially. For example, next year the Ukrainian creative sector will receive €5 million in grant support from the Creative Europe program.
Ukraine is not Russia, black is not white, and culture becomes a universal passport as well. Small word "palyanytsia" allows to distinguish us from them. And in this prospect, Ukrainian culture distincts itself and is seen for the whole world as flourishing and as prosperous, as a culture on its own. The culture that can not only be true to itself, if it's allowed to be.
Reported by Dana Kolesnik, Larissa Zubenko, UATV News.